Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. The show will be starting in just a few minutes, Billy. Glad to see you here. For those of you that are listening to this in replay, you can fast forward past this spot. No problem. But also, if you are new to Fireside and you don't know how everything works, if you want to send a comment or an emoji, you can hit the react button, choose an emoji, and press send. If you also want to send a comment or ask a question in a text, you can do the same thing. Hit the emoji, then type your response or question and hit send, and we'll see that also. Then also you can do the same thing with the Q&A button, but there'll be no emojis there. Again, welcome, 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 and the show will be starting in just a minute or two. See you in a minute. Well, hello, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Poetic People Fighting Racism, double PFR. I'm your host, Anthony Cordova, Tony C., the man about love. I'm also the co-host of I'm Right, where I have the privilege to be in a show with my beautiful, with my intelligent, with my incredibly gifted wife, Jill Cox Cordova, right here on Fireside. Here at Double PFR, we discuss racism and the caste system in the United States of America through poetry, through art, through music, using the voices of our souls, using the strength of our ancestors to heal the fractured country we live in and die in. Here at Double PFR, all souls are welcome. All people are welcome. Welcome to discuss the racism we live in. Come on in. We'll put our arms around you, providing a safe place for you, a home to protect you, a place where you're surrounded by hope, where you're surrounded by compassion, where you're surrounded by empathy, forgiveness, and love. Surrounded by love, surrounded by so much love. I'd love for you to come in with me, to stand by me, to see what we can do to change this country, to change the people that live in this country. I welcome you to Double PFR with love, with so much love. Double PFR. Ooh, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so good to see everyone here. Fabulous. I'm so happy you're here. Jill, who do we have in our audience? Have you been watching? Because I wasn't at the time.
Yes, we do have people in the audience.
Okay.
We have Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
We have Shauna.
Shauna, I don't know you, Shauna, but I hope we get to know each other.
We have Michelle.
Michelle, hello, Michelle.
And we have Billy Dees.
Billy Dees, hey, Billy, how you doing? It's good to see you here. All right. Well, we're going to get to this show today. As we know, this is season 2, episode 1. And the title of this show is The Insurrection ? So I did, if some of you don't know, I've written a manuscript of poetry dealing with racism and the caste system in the United States of America. The Insurrection poem I've written is within that same manuscript. But before I get to that, I also want to bring up that this year I have deemed, and Jill, my wife, have deemed this to be 2023. Do something different. So, this is the year of doing something different. And whatever it is, I mean, if you've never come to my show, you're already doing something different if you're here tonight. So, bravo, keep doing something different, which is fabulous. I love that because we can make small changes in our lives, just a little something different can lead to other things. And I'm not necessarily talking about racism or any of that stuff at this moment. I'm talking about taking a different route to work or home from work. Eat in a different room in your house that you normally don't eat in. Like last week, Jill and I ate in the room we call the Keys, and it's actually where we film or video our I'm Right show. And it was nice to eat in there, right at the bar. It gave us a different perspective. So do something different. Make some kind of change. You'd be surprised what can happen. Now, what I do, for those of you that aren't familiar with my show, whenever there's a phrase I use that you may not have heard before, I give a definition of that phrase. So in this poem, it has the blue and white eyes throughout it. So let's start with, and so in my manuscript, I use the blue and white eyes and decent white lives. So decent white lives are pretty self-explanatory. These are different, decent Caucasian people that live in this country, and they're just kind, nice people. They're not to hurt anybody, out to hurt anybody. They're not prejudiced or racist. They treat everyone like they're human beings, whoever they are. So now, when we get to the blue and white eyes, now the blue and white eyes does not specific. It's not a specific reference to the color of their eyes. So the blue represents the blue blood, the European blue blood that some people believe they have in them that makes them better than anyone else. And the white refers to seeing through white eyes or the white gaze or the white perspective of Caucasian people that think they're better than someone else because of their color of their skin or their nationality or something like that. The manuscript starts out with a poem, The Blue and White Eyes. And I'm going to, because I haven't done this in a while, but I'm going to do the first two stanzas of that really quick. I'm going to do it like real quick. So here it goes. The blue and white eyes are some of the people with white skin, the people that believe their European blood makes them pure. Blue blood running through their veins, better and supreme than anyone with color in their skin. They believe the darker a person's skin, the more they become less than. And I just lost my spot. How did I do that? And I know this thing backwards and forwards. They believe the darker a person's skin, the more they become less than through white eyes, seen through the haze of privileged minds, seen through the white gaze of white eyes. They have been destroying lives of black people since the first time they laid eyes on black lives living in the first land, the absolutely magnificent motherland. Okay, that's basically it. That's a short definition. Sorry, I slipped up on that, and I haven't done that in ages. So tonight, the poem is The Insurrection. And after the poem, and you might need to grab a glass of wine or something, this poem's a little longer than the rest. It's probably about 7 minutes. But I open the floor right after this poem to questions, comments, anything you want to say about this poem and how you feel about it, even if it makes you angry, even if you think that I'm completely off basis. I want to talk to you because this is a safe place. This is the place for us to have the conversations that we really need to have to learn how to love each other, because I am all about love. I'm not about hatred. I'm not about anger. I am all about love. So we're going to get some music going and we're going to get this poem going. The insurrection or resurrection or insurrection. The insurrection and resurrection of something that should never be. The confused minds of the blue and white eyes making hatred live, not die. Pull up a chair, sit down and watch. Listen and study the confused minds of racist men and women in front of our eyes, trying to take lives for their commander-in-chief. The man of many lies, a insurrection or resurrection or insurrection. The insurrection of something that should never be in front of fearful eyes, inside of white columns, trying to stay alive, see Congress hide in front of all eyes, on TVs mounted on walls, on laptops and desktops and cell phones held by hands of every color, held by hands of every race. The insurrection seen from expensive boardroom tables, from small offices, from small business tables, around the country, around the world, a insurrection or resurrection or insurrection. The truth playing on all screens for all to see, can't seem to scream from all the crazy images we see, can't believe the scenes we see are real. Not in the United States of America, not in the land of white dreams, can't believe the scenes we see are real, are real, are real. The scenes we see are real, too real, trying to deal with nightmares coming true, too real. Hey, insurrection or resurrection or insurrection or resurrection. This country showing the world what this country has always been. The old red, white, and blue below the surface, under the muck and mud, under the puke and crud this country has made for black lives to live in and die in. The blue and white eyes been keeping their lies below the surface, below the surface. They've been keeping black lives, black rights, and future below the surface, below the surface. See the blue and white eyes lies rise to the surface after 400 years or so. So, are we seeing the beginning of their end or a new end of our beginning? A insurrection or resurrection or insurrection or resurrection. The insurrection and resurrection of something that should never be. Confused minds of racist men and women fighting and fighting and fighting like their orders came from hell. See the blue and white eyes trying to control our lives by taking lives, doing what they can to kill decent lives, decent American lives, to live their hatred and racist dreams, racist dreams, racist dreams. And the American dream may be the same dream. Do you see? The American dream and the racist dream to be supreme may be the same dream. One dream, the same as the other dream. in the land of white dreams, in the land of less than for black lives, in this country of lies, a insurrection or resurrection. It seems the racist dream and the American dream omitted black lives, threw us out into the night, into a nightmare, from our birth to our death, fighting to save our lives against systemic racism and against America's caste system from beginning to end. What is this we're seeing? What is this we're living? What is this they're trying to believe in? A insurrection or resurrection or insurrection? See the bald eagle flying so high, guided by America's pure white, all-powerful, all-seeing, all-American, all-white head, flying with that old racist Jim and his nasty old crow, with wings locked over the land of white dreams and wrongful deaths for black lives. See? Today is living and flying with hands locked with America's past. See, the past not being the past, never being the past. In this country we live in, this country we die in, the country they lie in, the country they lie in. See, the past never goes away, never stays away. Just lying and waiting and lying and waiting, repeating the same thing, repeating the same thing, the same history, the same thing, the same history. It happened before. They did it before. A resurrection or an insurrection. Will we ever learn? Will we learn to discern what we've learned from history? Will we learn and remember our ancestors and our brothers and sisters that died by their hands again and again, over and over again? Will we, do we finally see again and again and again who the blue and white eyes are, who they have always been? Believe them. See them for what they are. See the past trying to live in the present again, turning the clock back again, back into the past again, back into the present again. Same thing over and over again. See the blue and white eyes for what they are, for what they're doing again. A resurrection in an insurrection to hide a resurrection right before our eyes, right before our eyes, right before our eyes. All right, that's it. That was a long one. Thank you for the applause. Okay, what are we gonna do? Does anyone in the audience have any comments or questions or anything at all? It's good. And if not, I can go through the poem. But I really would love some input. Again, you don't have to tell me the poem is great, that you loved it. I'm more interested in hearing your comments on maybe how it made you feel, if it made you angry, if it inspired you, if it gave you a different train of thought. Okay, so that's a no. So with this poem, the insurrection, it's a big question. What was the insurrection? And I've heard so many different definitions of what the insurrection was about. taking back our country. That's one I find it hard to believe. Taking back our country. This is our country. No one has taken it away from us. I mean, I love this country. I really do. But I have a line from another poem I wrote, and it says, I love this country. I'm its battered child. This country has been pulling me up and pulling me down since my birth to my death. Look how it protects me while it chains me to its past. So, and that is my love affair with this country. This country has been behind me. I have done so many things and started so many different businesses that I wouldn't have been able to do almost anywhere in the world. So I understand that opportunity. But at the same time, I would start these businesses. There were other people that would just wanted to tear me down because of the color of my skin. No other reason, strictly because of the color of my skin. I've had business meetings where, I was in the service industry, one of my businesses, and I went to a business meeting, and I used to subcontract for one company, and a very, very nice man, very nice man. He's a white man, very nice. We got along great, no problems. So he says to me, it doesn't make any sense for you to be, my subcontractor and all of this. Maybe I can give you an introduction and, you can contract straight to the company. Yeah, that sounds great. So we went to this meeting. It was all set up, ready to go. And the moment the man saw me, and he was white, he was Caucasian, he wouldn't look at me. He wouldn't shake my hand. He wouldn't acknowledge that I was even there. And I was standing 2 feet away from him. He wouldn't speak to me. He wouldn't do anything. I was invisible. He only spoke to my friend that brought me there, but wouldn't speak to me. And it wasn't the first time that's happened, strictly because of the color of my skin. So when I talk about the insurrection and what was the insurrection, to hear people say things to make the country great again. What does that mean? Make the country great again. If you are African American in this country, it literally means what I was saying in my poem. They want to turn the clock back. Just turn it back. Put us back to the way back to where if we saw a white person walking down the sidewalk, we would have to get off the sidewalk and drop our eyes and look to the ground. And if we didn't, we could be lynched. We could be lynched. So most of us see it that way. Now, the thing with the insurrection, which was just 2 years ago, this is a day after the anniversary of it, I go in the next stanza and showing how people all over the world really saw this for the first time. A lot of people throughout the world didn't know that there is a segment of Americans that just want to bring everything down and want to take things back to the way they were. But everybody saw it. Whether you was in a high rise, business, corporate business, or you just were a small business owner, everybody saw this. and they were shocked. Even when I was watching it, it was like, is this what I'm really seeing? That these people are really trying to take over the government. These people are really trying not to let the winning president be elected. Really trying to turn over the government. That's insane. I've never seen that in my life. I hope I never see it again. But just insane. The hatred people have. And like I said, I'm all about love. I want us to be able to love each other and learn about each other and be friends with each other. I want all of us to be treat each other like brothers and sisters and long lost cousins. Just love each other. If we treated each other that way, and I know this sounds like a pipe dream. People can't do it. People can't do it. People can do it. All they have to do is want to. That's it. It doesn't take much more than that. All they have to do is want to. When you're in your car and you see a homeless person, maybe they're homeless, maybe they're not. Maybe they're running a scam. Who knows? But you shouldn't look at them with disdain, whoever they are. If they're running a scam, there's a reason they're running a scam. It's because I can guarantee you some bad stuff has happened in their life. It could be anything. It could be anything at all. But that particular person feels the only way they can make money in life is by running a scam. But then you got other people living on the street, and some have mental illness. It's not a reason to look at them with disdain. We can love each other. We really can. And again, that's what I'm all about. Um, Still nobody. No, oh, thank you for the applause there. Um, so I went over this. Let's see if we can. Okay, I go in.
Tony,
Yes.
I just wanted to acknowledge that we have one new person in the audience,
Who do we have?
Ananda.
Ananda. Welcome, Ananda. I have much love for you just for being here. And there's my other friend. There's my friend Tammy. Hi, Tammy. I always get excited when I see Tammy.
You do.
And I don't talk to her that much. We don't have a whole lot of conversations, Tammy and I. However, her energy makes me smile.
Me too.
Always. I feel good when I see her. I feel good when I hear her speak in someone else's show. So I truly am all about love. I really am. Y- y- you know, uh, I'm in my 60s. I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always about love. I was a lot different than what I am now. I grew up in New York. I learned how to be hard, hard. I see we have someone else too.
Well, I was just going to say that
Yeah.
Billy D's also said hello to Ananda.
Oh,
And we
cool.
also have Melody in the audience.
Melody. Hello, Melody. Melody. Ooh, I'll get it out. Tongue tied tonight. We're so happy to have you here in the audience. Thanks for being in here. Being here. You know, here's the thing, and Melanie, you weren't here at the beginning of the show.
Melody.
Melody. I tell you, I'm tongue tied tonight. I really am, and things aren't flowing. Um, but I was talking about doing something different and how we can make a difference in this world just by doing a little something different. And just you being in this audience tonight, that makes a difference. I also talk about a lot about being an everyday activist. coming to a show like this with this subject matter that is not happy stuff. We're always trying to get away from these conversations. It's not happy stuff at all. But just the little thing of you showing up to this show and you know what the subject matter is, that is also being part of an everyday activist. You don't have to change the world with your activism, but what you might do is you might say, "Hey, I checked out this show on Fireside, and it was really cool," and start talking about the subject matter. And Jill, do you have something to say?
Yes, Billy Dees just wrote a comment and he said, Ananda is a friend. Thanks for stopping by. Just as we
Oh,
thank you for stopping by.
cool. Yes, thank you. That means a lot to me, and thank you, Billy D's. Um, I didn't, and Billy D's, just for the record, I didn't see your last show posted until after your show aired, but I am going to go and look at the replay because as I got like hearts for Billy D's. He's really good at what he does,
We both do.
and yes,
Much respect.
much respect. And but here's the thing. I'm talking about being an everyday activist. I'm talking about the resurrection question mark. What was it all about? But like I said, I really am all about love and spreading this love and doing the work we need to do. Billy D's has come to Fireside, and every one of his shows is there to teach, to help people be a little better in what they do on Fireside. And he's not charging for this. He's not, yeah, you got to come to my course. And no, he's not doing any of that. He does it because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Billy, but he does it because he, one, loves what he does. And he does many things within um, well, I'm getting the time. My producer's like, "Hey, watch the time," because I was going to make a quick show tonight, but I can't help it, Jill. You know how it is, and it is going to be a quick show. But people, people that are doing things and people that love people excites me. That's why I said whenever I see Tammy, I'm like, "Oh, it's Tammy!" Ooh, I just kind of go nuts. And it's the same with Billy here. He's doing good stuff, and he has a good heart, and here. He's here, and it's a big deal to come to my show because it's not like a fun show where we're laughing all the time. And I do want to laugh, but it's not that type of show. It's more of a serious show with serious topics.
You also have Brenda S.
Brenda
in the audience.
S. Hello, Brenda S. I'm so happy you came in. Again, thank you for coming. You could be anywhere else in the world other than watching a show about racism. So thank you for being here. I've already done the poem for the night, so you can listen to it in replay. But again, thank you for being here. But tonight, I didn't want to stay on too long because I am really tired today. Really tired. So I'd like to open the floor up again if anyone has a comment or a question, anything at all. If not, I'm going to start wrapping this up.
You may want to tell people how to ask to speak.
Oh, because some may not know.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm used to having all the old timers in the audience. So if you want to request to speak, you can hit that little button in the lower left hand corner that looks like plus sign. You can equal sign. You can click on that and just request to speak, and we'll get you right up on the stage. Also, you can hit that speaker button. It's a plus sign and it says speakers. You can hit that and you can request to speak that way. That's probably the easiest way. That's the way I usually do it. Just hit that plus up top and get it done. No comments, but still no comments. Everybody's quiet tonight. Quiet. There we go.
Billy Dees is on the stage.
Wonderful. Billy, how are you?
I am doing just fine, and I had to come on, and you always make me sound better than what I am.
Oh, no. Even your voice is good. And don't say it's your mic.
Well, it is, but well, thank you anyway. But anyway, you do a fantastic job, and
Thank you.
You have one of those personalities that's your energy comes across. So no matter how your content rather impacts people, people know it's coming from the right place. And that's a talent you either have or you don't. And you have it. You have it.
Thank you, Billy. It means a lot coming from you.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of like olives or coffee. You kind of have to acquire a taste for me, but you always are. And about the content tonight, I always respect anyone's journey. I'm pretty active here in Ohio with the mental health and addiction community.
Okay.
And this often gets into issues of poverty, homelessness, and a lot of other things. And so that's kind of what compelled me to jump forward because, it's very easy to pass someone on the street and say, well, they're running a scam or they took drugs and, that's the path that they chose. But here in Ohio, I can tell you that the opiate problems are massive, absolutely massive. There's a couple of good documentaries if anybody wants to check them out as to why that happened here in Ohio. We were one of the original pill mills when the laws changed in the 1990s about how you could market different types of drugs.
That's true.
Yes, and the path to addiction here, it's not what people, surmise, that the people just partied themselves. It's much more subtle than that. And we know a lot more about addiction now than what we did before. And the crazed drug user that you often see in movies, a guy with long hair driving down the street erratically, shooting out the window, that isn't what addiction looks like.
Right.
Addiction looks like your next door neighbor. He looks like the guy that's mowing his lawn. He looks like the guy that's going to work, just everyday people. And the studies have shown that, mental health ties into very much the addiction problem. This is especially true with heroin. Abuse is very much child abuse in your early years is very much tied in to heroin use. And all I'm saying is that we have a lot of people now who are a lot more empathetic to the drug problems and the other problems that we have here in Ohio, largely because it's so bad.
Yes.
It's touched just about everyone now. And unfortunately, that's just something about human nature. We have a tendency to have empathy for it once it's impacted us.
Yes.
So I always tell people, give that empathy before it impacts you.
Yeah.
And that's something that, you kind of touched on about love. It's very easy to make a judgment. I've actually gone out. I haven't by myself. I've gone out with trained counselors who do approach homeless people, and we've had conversations with them, and they all have some kind of a story that has nothing to do with partying themselves into addiction. It has nothing to do with, they're making $1 million. They live in a gated community. They just come into town to get money.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's much more complicated. And everybody's story, I've been involved in some diversity groups as well. Everybody's story in terms of how things have impacted them in life is unique. Every single one. And you have to respect everyone's story. And you can make generalizations based upon your own personal life and how you've gone through things, and which is fine. But you also have to be cognizant that there are different realities out there, and it's very multi-layered. Everybody experiences, the way they're treated in communities. Everybody experiences hardships, trauma, all mental health. Everybody experiences these things differently. Every story is unique. And that's kind of just one I wanted to toss in there when I heard you mention mental health and some other things. And Ananda is actually, I actually know Ananda pretty well. She's actually been on my regular podcast. And I told her on Twitter today that I was going to check your show out, and she came in to check it out. Now,
Oh, thank
how
you.
cool is that?
That is very cool. That is very cool. And Billy, I'm so happy you brought this up. This show, yeah, I bring attention to racism and the caste system and all of this stuff in the United States. But I do want this to be a place where we can talk about all of these things. And the reason being, nobody knows anyone else's story. Okay. Everybody's on the outside looking in and making assumptions, like you said a little earlier. So I'm going to use myself for an example. I was severely depressed most of my life, over 40 years, and didn't know it. I thought it was just life. I avoided people. I would disappear. My father was a alcoholic. He was physically and mentally abusive to my mother. My mother was severely depressed, like her whole life. And I thought that's just life. When I was 21 years old, 22 years old, I'm sorry. I got into trucking, and I was very successful. I bought my own trucks. I had fleet of trucks, but I stayed on the road. I stayed gone for months at a time. And I had no problem if I didn't see anyone or speak to anyone for months because I was depressed. I didn't even know to seek help for depression because I didn't know I was depressed. I thought it was just life. Just life. And we if we're more aware of what's going on, especially in the Black community, nobody wanted to say they were depressed because we're so tough. We're tough. We got to put up with stuff all the time. Hey, no problem. We got racism. We got prejudice. We got all of these things that happen to us. But yet, we don't want to get help. It was a stigma. And there's been many shows here on Fireside directed towards African Americans and African American men to seek help for their mental issues, because so many things come about from it, from being severely depressed. I mean, I was severely depressed. I was suicidal. Okay. I've had a gun pressed to my head, ready to blow my brains out. It was that bad. But I got help. Now I'm no longer, and Jill was instrumental in that. When we got married, I was depressed and didn't know it. I had no clue. Jill would say something, nothing wrong. Jill would say, hey, you got to get some help. Nothing wrong with me. I'm good. Push through. Okay, I got help. I did some other things, went on a spiritual journey. I was able to cure myself of depression. I was able to get off the meds. And I know they say never, but I will never be depressed again. Because the moment I see for some reason I'm slipping back, I'm going to do something about it. While I was depressed, I never would have done a show like this. While I was depressed, we would never would have started I'm Right, I'm Right. There's no way in the world because I didn't know whether I was coming and going. But now, I just want to love people. I want to spread the love. I want us all to be one. Love each other. Just one, as many as we are. If we learn to love each other, we become one. So again, Billy, I'm glad you brought that up, and the difference and the things that happen with drug addiction. I've had not just a few cousins or relatives that were strung out on drugs, but many, 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 many. So again, thank you so much, Billy, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to show people this show is more than about poetry and racism and caste system.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I want. So thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for talking about it, because that's one of the problems we deal with stigma in the work that I'm in here in Ohio. It's a major problem. People feel that it is a weakness, and I always tell people, if you fall and you hurt your elbow, you're going to go to the emergency room or a doctor or something, and not think twice about it. On the other hand, if you're hurting emotionally, that's somehow a weakness, but it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
For anyone, well, first of all, I'm so glad you made it through that. The world is a better place with you in it.
Well, thank you. Man, you send me so many flowers, I'm going to lose my mind.
And also, too, and for your audience, the suicide hotline now is very easy. It's 988 here in the United States.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
And if you feel like you need to talk to someone, there are resources available. NAMI is pretty much a national organization, and those people over there are fantastic. That's NAMI. And there's usually local places scattered all around the country. A quick Google search will find them up. And if they can't help you, or if there's one that's kind of too far away, they can probably point you to a resource that's close to you to get help. Help is readily more available now than it ever was before. And if you need it, get it. There's no better time than right now. If I always tell people, when it comes to addiction, mental health, if you feel, if that little voice in your head saying, you know what, maybe I need help, now is always the best time to do something about it, right now. So thank you again for having me up, and I'm sure we'll talk again later. But I really love the way you present yourself. You're fantastic. Thank you.
Well, and thank you. Thanks for coming up. But I do see Sonia has entered the audience. Hi, Sonia. She's fabulous. She has a good heart, and she is a person you should check out her show. If she would come to the stage, I would like Sonia, you to tell people about your show here on Fireside, if you would like, because I know she's not afraid of the stage. So please request to speak and come on up. Because yes, Sonia understands the oneness and the love that we should spread to each other.
And Sonia is on the stage.
Hello, Sonia.
I just caught like your first poetry reading there. Oh my gosh. Awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I did watch I watched some of your show live, but it was late for me. So, but I watched the replay the next day.
Yeah.
So it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you. And we'll continue to unlock. And of course, with regards to what Billy and yourselves were talking about, right? In terms of, the depression and all of the other things that we each one time in our life might have gone through, right? And I did my bouts for mine was 4 years.
For 4 years, you had depressed for 4 years.
Yeah, but for me, what saved me was that I always keep myself occupied and doing stuff, and and I had a good my husband then was really supportive of, and very encouraging. I didn't like, for me, I didn't get help in the sense like I did, but it wasn't. It was just on the phone, right? And
Mm-hmm.
not at that point. I didn't realize. Well, I didn't know anything about mental health stuff, right? And I was just like, doing it yourself kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't until like the major event in my life do I really look into myself a little more. And as much as other people, let's say you go and get help and stuff like that, they can only listen to you. I realize that the help has to come from you.
Yeah.
And for me, just like what really helped me also to see is when I was in joined one of the group meets on the type of condition I was in. I realized that everyone else, in terms of the severity of the situation, is way heavier than mine. And so I was able to like see that, and rather than focus on myself, it was like to them, right? They need more help
Ah.
than myself. So I became
Mm-hmm.
more of the helper, and in that sense also it started the path of the way I look at things, right? um
Yes.
yeah, in terms of like of all the problems, there's people will also have those problems as well in different degree of severity, right? And and I became really kind of inspired to help these group of people, and because they have helped me in seeing another side of things that I haven't thought about, or because initially you were thinking about only yourself, right? But when you see all that terrible things that are happening around you, you have no choice but to really go away from your own stuff. But in the process, it also helps heal you in many ways, because other people are, when you also contribute to other people, whether they need help in certain things and stuff like that, then it also gives you that kind of healing as well. So I
Yes.
found that, that really is, so awesome that I was able to experience. There were like, in the beginning, it started with half men, half women in the
Mm-hmm.
the group. Then halfway through, all the men were gone. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah. So we had like,
Where'd they go? They
I
just
don't
left
know.
the program?
Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
left like not even halfway through, right? I think it's
Mm-hmm.
the emotional content was really heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, everybody's going through that stage of how you go through the stages of grieving, and everybody's in different stage. But to be able to, like you face fear, right? To be able to come out of it, you have to face it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot
Yeah.
of men, I find, is in terms of emotions, right? You know, and the women that remain really let it out, right? And
Yeah.
that's how you kind of free yourself as well. And
Yeah.
so it was kind of interesting to observe, right? And I think, I mean, we kind of divided up halfway, right? The men go
Mm-hmm.
different room, and the women goes different room. But I think yeah, I mean, yeah, to see that kind of transition. So I see where you're coming from, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but but what you're saying is, in your case, you saw that other people were even worse off than you, but you were able to have empathy for
Mhm.
them. So you had empathy for them, and with you having empathy for them, it taught you love. It also taught you how to let go and connect with other people, because empathy requires love, and once we learn how to do things, we're all a lot better off. Once we learn how to show each other some empathy, put yourself in their shoes, feel what they're feeling, And then you can better understand a person if you're able to do that. Not everyone's able to do that. Everyone should do that, but it's a hard thing for people to do, because everybody's in their own little world, in their own little head of what's important and what is not. But thank you so much for sharing, Sonia. I really do appreciate that. And I appreciate everyone in the audience. And I really do love everyone in the audience, even if I haven't met you, even if this is the first time in my show. It's fine. I have love for all of you. And I hope you come back to another show. And if not this show, come to I'm Right. If not this, come to my wife's show. Wait with me. That was our plug. But yeah, so happy to have all of you here. But I am going to start closing out the show because, like I said, I'm tired tonight. Wore out. So let's get to it. So again, thank you everyone for coming. I want to remind everybody to try to be a everyday activist. Please do that. And it doesn't take much. Like I said, just coming to this show is being an everyday activist. And also, I do want you to start looking at people differently and showing them some empathy. So, and don't make snap judgments about someone you just see while you're at a traffic light. It's not good to live that way. All right. So we're going to start closing this music, get the music up, and we're going to get us out of here. So this is the intro, outro music, and it is called Choral by 29 Beats. That's who that is. Then the one I played for the poem I did tonight for the Insurrection ? Is called Koa by Serta Beats. That I like them. That was nice. And all our music I use on this podcast or this vodcast come from BeatStar. So these are original artists that their music isn't widely heard on the radio station and stuff like that. So I love it. I love to use new artists, which is fabulous. I really like it. So my next show, Jill, do you remember what my next show is? I know I wrote it down somewhere. I think the next show is Justified Killing. How exciting. I got to smile when I say that. Justified Killing. Can't wait. Yeah, that's another heavy one. That's a really heavy one. So, again, I love you all. Please check me out the next time and the next date of this show, because I do it every other week, because it is so heavy. It's hard to live in that space all the time. So that will be January 21st is when that will be. Again, I truly do love you all. I love you all. Even if you find it hard to love me back, I still love you. I love you if you like me. I have love for you if you hate me. So keep living your life, keep spreading joy. Till next time, I will see you. We're going to turn off the video. The video is gone and I'm almost gone. Again, I know I said it 3, 4, 5, 6 times.